into a brave new world. Welcome, everybody. What a great group of
Make it louder, D.
great group of folks. We're going to do a little challenge to Zoom. Cesar's going to be control of muting everybody and miking everybody up. I believe that the raise your hand feature is there on your reactions. But we're going to move along and get this program rolling. I'm sorry not to see everybody out in the lobby during happy hour today. So I just want to remind everybody that the next time we all get together, the first round's on Cesar Lara. Just because he didn't mute me there. Brothers and sisters, everyone, all my good friends, welcome this evening. This is a new for us here at the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council. Instead of our annual event, we're trying to gather each and every one of you to get here in the Zoom world. For those that don't know me, my name is Daniel Dodge Sr. I am currently the president of the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council. And in my role, I work with Cabrillo College Federation of Teachers, where I'm the executive director for AFT 4400. So this is not what we usually do, but we do to celebrate our solidarity and our struggles and our victories. But we're living in a virtual world, and so we're just trying to move forward so we can get through it to the other side. This is our, it shows that our solidarity and our sticking together and to be able to communicating with each other is actually more important than ever now. And because we're in this time of pandemic, this virus is showing everyone across the country that the living wages, health care for all, unemployment rights, and labor rights, they're issues that are essential rights that everyone should enjoy, rights that the labor movement brings to us and sets the standards that benefit everyone across the country. Our union members are literally the essential workers and on the forefront of the fight against this virus. Our brothers and sisters in the nurses and union, they fight that virus head on every day. Our county and governmental workers are essential workers in the streets and helping the community. And I can go on, for us in education where we're at, we're facing a bold new world where we have the challenges of being able to reach students virtually and teach a new way of learning and learning a new way to teach. So it's been quite the challenge here since March. I do want to recognize that today is the 30th anniversary of the American Disabilities Act, which is, a civil rights milestone that's changed millions of lives. So I want to thank our home care workers whose dedication and service have helped people with disabilities live a life of dignity and independence. And that's never been more important than it is now. So come November, again, our solidarity, our unity, our communicating with each other, we have a chance to make our voices heard and to be the forefront of the revolution that's coming. We want to be able to be part of that change. And it's simple as getting all of our members to vote, to participate. It'll be a different way. Absentee voting begins in 50 days. The election is 100 days, the November election is 100 days from today. Absentee voting begins in 50 days. So we have 50 days to be able to gather and to be able to campaign in new ways, to be able to reach our members in their households. Our strength is in the number of households. We have over 40,000 households that we can reach through our unions here in the Monterey Bay area. So we can be part of and dictate that change to be able to support elected officials that support elected working families. So never before, as our solidarity, I will say it again, has been more important. We're that voice. So we want to be able to make that change, to be able to support our working families by electing people that will be able to be our voices and move forward into creating what could be a part of a new society post-pandemic. Well, those are my words of welcome to everybody. I am really happy to see all my friends. It's really good to be honoring the Unionist of the Year. But I'm going to turn it over right now to my good friend, a woman I truly admire. She's on the forefront of the fight against this virus. Her and her sisters and brothers at the California Nurses Association are hardworking. I admire them. And please, everybody, let's give a virtual welcome to our good friend, Vice President of Monterey County, Sandra Martinez. Yay. Sandra, you're up.
Okay, hey.
Hey.
I am having technical difficulty.
We lost you for a second there.
I can hear.
Keep going.
So
Did we lose Sandra?
That's what it sounds like. So can you please introduce Jeffrey, and we could go to the next item
Sure.
on the agenda?
We're going to try and reach out to Sandra and get her back on the line, but we're going to move forward with the program, and we're going to get into our portion of the program where we're going to honor the Unionist of the Year. So for those, we're going to have our good friend, Vice President of the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council from SEIU, 521, longtime activist, longtime dedicated to the labor movement, really involved in getting the Real Works Film Festival, which we didn't have, which we'll talk about a little later. Please welcome everybody, Jeffrey Smedberg. Jeffrey, you there?
I am here.
Go for it, Jeffrey.
Thank you for the introduction, Danielle. Each year, we come together at this Labor Awards event to celebrate union members who made notable contributions to their unions. However, the strength of our union movement depends not just on our stars, but on every member who joins their coworkers at the job every day to put in their best effort. Today, we honor the lives and contributions of union members who have passed on during the last year. In memoriam from Smart Local 23, Brother Domingo Tovar passed away April 14th, 2020 from COVID-19. He was 68 years old. Brother Tovar was involved in the initial contract talks with Santa Cruz Metro, as well as a 37-day strike against the bus company in 2005. After his Santa Cruz Metro retirement, he kept driving as a shuttle bus driver for the University of California, Santa Cruz until his passing. He loved helping his community. From the Carpenters locals, 505 and 605, both fairly recent passing, Ralph Rubio, former mayor of Seaside and union representative, and Jonathan Boutel, member of the Carpenters Union and longtime union activist and community activist. From the healthcare sector, the California Nurses Association member Brian De Silva, RN. From SEIU United Healthcare Workers, rest in power to our fallen members, all frontline healthcare workers who did not have sufficient personal protective equipment. They contracted COVID-19 at work, became very ill, and passed away. Rosa Luna, Riverside Community Hospital. Sally Lara, Riverside Community Hospital. Sarah Ronskowitz, Kaiser, San Francisco. Nenita Proctor, Kindred La Mirada. Maria Sigala, Garfield Hospital. Angelito Diwa, Kaiser Orange County. Cindy Zepeda, Kaiser Baldwin Park. I ask you to join me in a moment of silence in remembrance of these members and many others unnamed who have left us. Thank you. Let us pause, let us dedicate ourselves to carry on the highest aspirations of those who are no longer on the path with us. Now I would like to hand off the program to, unless Sandra is back, I'd like to hand off the program to Veronica Diaz and Glenn Schaller, Central Labor Council staff and members of Teamsters 912.
Good evening. Hi, this is Glenn. I'm glad to be doing this with Veronica. And we are going to talk about the unions to the year that we've been told about from our locals. Would you like to start with the Cabrillo College Federation of Teachers, Veronica?
Absolutely. Thanks so much. So first off tonight, we want to recognize Sarah DeSalle from the Cabrillo College Federation of Teachers. Sarah's dedication and passion to help organize adjunct faculty members at Cabrillo is inspiring to us all. Sarah herself gathered thousands of voter signatures to help assure the success of placing schools and communities first as Proposition 15 on the November ballot. Thank you so much, Sarah. Si se puede. Next, we'd like to honor Tracy Chavez from the California Nurses Association. She is a registered nurse who works in the ICU of Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital. Tracy Chavez has done tremendous union work this past year. Normally, as chief nurse representative at Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital, she ensures employer adherence to contract language. However, this past year, Tracy went above and beyond by helping to organize Natividad nurses who overwhelmingly voted for CNA to represent them. Additionally, in the midst of a COVID pandemic, which could directly impact frontline healthcare nurses, we are grateful Tracy was diligent on ensuring implementation and adherence to work safety guidelines. Tracy manages to do this with grace and narrow focus commitment. We want to recognize her with this award as a thank you for all she does.
Thank you. And I'd like to talk about the Unionist of the Year from the Pajaro Valley Federation of Teachers, Ramiro Medrano. Ramiro is a counselor at Pajaro Valley High School. He advocates for our most marginalized population of students and has founded a Dream Club scholarship to provide undocumented graduating students help with higher education costs. After the March 13th closure, Ramiro helped start a campesino caravan to bring attention to the essential workers who go unrecognized. He gladly accepted the position to help PVFT put together a Love in the Time of COVID fund in partnership with the Community Action Board to financially help the families we serve. PVFT Executive Council is proud to call Ramiro our brother in advocacy. Next, I'd like to recognize the Unionist of the Year from the SEIU United Healthcare Workers, Michelle Schwabel. Michelle is a patient services specialist at Dominican Hospital in Santa Cruz. She's a leader and activist for her members at Dominican. We also are recognizing tonight a Unionist of the Year from the California Faculty Association, Vanessa Lopez Littleton. We will provide more information about Vanessa as we do a follow-up to this event, but I also want to put in a plug to other unions. If you've got a Unionist of the Year that we have not had a chance to recognize this evening, we would like to do so in the follow-up to this event. So please send that information to me at political@mbclc.org. And thank you, Unionists of the Year. And now I want to hand it back to our president, Danielle Dodge.
Hi, I was muted. We see our sponsors there. Our sponsors are showing here. Great. Okay. Up next, we want to move along. We want to move along and to be able to, we're going to hear from Congressman Jimmy Panetta of the 20th Congressional District.
Danielle, I'm sorry, this is Glenn. I missed my cue. I was supposed to then talk about the sponsors. I forgot to do that before I handed it to you. I apologize. So these are only a few of the sponsors for tonight's event. There are other sponsors that we did not receive ads from, but everyone has provided a great deal of support, and we will continue to recognize folks throughout the evening. Sorry, Danielle, back to you.
Oh, that's okay, Glenn. Everybody here has probably seen me choke once or twice, just not on Zoom.
Thank you.
Okay, whew. I thought I lost the agenda. Good evening, everybody. We're going to hear from Congressman Jimmy Panetta, our own Congressman Jimmy Panetta of the 20th Congressional District. He's made quite the impression in Washington, D.C. He has been very instrumental and to be able to advocate for farm workers, and as role on the Agricultural Committee has served agriculture across the state and across the nation. I consider Jimmy a good friend. I've been able to watch his career and see how he's interacted and how he's grown and how he's been an advocate for all of us. He'll even take all of our phone calls. So please, Caesar, let's hear from Jimmy.
Hello, everybody. It's Jimmy Panetta. Let me start off by saying that I know it's unfortunate that we cannot be together in person. Trust me, I wish I could be there as part of this celebration. But fortunately, we can come together via Zoom, and hopefully all of you and your families are healthy, happy, and of course safe. Let me also take this time to thank the people who deserve to be thanked for this. And of course, that's Glenn and Caesar, for all of you do, not just to make this event happen, this annual dinner, well, we call it a dinner, this annual event to happen right now, but also all that you do for us, for the Central Coast Labor Council, and all that you do for our community. So thanks, Glenn, Caesar, and thanks to all of you. Let me also say congratulations to the awardees. You're being recognized at this event, as you should be, not just because of your work, but because of the excellent work that you do for others, especially now, when it is highlighted that you're not just essential, you're invaluable. And that's why I say, not just thanks to all of you, but thank you for being union, and thank you for all that your unions do for us. Now look, I know that these are strange times. I know that these are trying times. I know that these are tough times. With this pandemic, with a hit, not just on our lives, but our livelihoods. And yes, this constant fight that we are having to do for equality and justice in our systems of governance. It was also a tough week, I have to say, on a personal note, and even on a national note, in that I lost a colleague in Congress, and we as a nation lost one of our true heroes with the passing of Congressman John Robert Lewis. I gotta say, serving with John in Congress and as a fellow member on the Ways and Means Committee, you bet, it was an absolute honor. And I gotta admit, I never got used to being the colleague of John Lewis. I can tell you though, that I felt so fortunate that in March, my family and I traveled to Alabama, to Selma, Alabama, on the anniversary of Bloody Sunday, as they called it. And we actually got to walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge with John Lewis, arm in arm. that place, that bridge, we're back on Bloody Sunday. John was beaten and left with scars that he had for the rest of his life. As he'll tell you, those were scars that clearly didn't slow him down, but actually drove him to continue the fight for civil rights. And it's interesting because I often thought about this when I was sitting in the committee room with John. You look at his life, it was clear, and actually what he would tell us, it was clear that it is the hope that he had that drove him to continue the fight. The hope that he had that really led to his endurable conviction, his tempered mannerism, and the love and respect he had for every single person. I can tell you that when you would watch John, I could tell you that he treated everybody the same. And John will tell you that he knew the connection between labor rights and civil rights. And it was having that way about him in which he was able to continue his fight, not just in Congress, but his fight for all of us, everybody in this nation, when it came to civil rights. So I'm sorry that I went on about the passing of John Lewis. But I have to say, though, that when I think of John and when all of you think of him, not just now, but this coming week with his funeral that's going to be in Atlanta on Thursday, that when you think of John and we mourn his loss, just like when I work with him, though, be motivated to try to finish what he started. I know I try to do it in Congress. Every time I saw him, reminded me. And now every time we think of him, it must remind us to continue that fight, especially now. Let's keep up that fight as we get through this pandemic. Let's keep up that fight when we get back on our feet with our economy and get back to work safely. Let's keep up that fight as we get marching, not just in the streets, but boy, get marching right into the voting booth in November. And I can tell you, as John would often say, there is no substitute for substance. Ladies and gentlemen, your substance is the work that you continue to do. Your substance are the unions that you're a part of, your organization. That's your substance. I look forward to continuing to fight for you, for your substance, for your unions back here in Washington, D.C. I look forward to continuing to work with you with that substance right there on the Central Coast. So again, congratulations to our awardees. Keep up that fight. Stay motivated, especially now. And thank you. Thank you for all you have done for the people you work with, the people you serve with, the people you work for. And thank you for all you have done for our community there in our home on the Central Coast of California. Stay strong. See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Gosh, I'm inspired. So let's keep going. Next on our agenda here on our list, we want to be able to hear from Senator Bill Monning of the 17th Senate District here in the state of California. Bill was elected in 2008, and he's completing his term, his service to us in that role. You know, I could go on and just talking about Bill Monning. He's so active in Sacramento and been an advocate for here, all of us on the Central Coast. I met Bill when we were both younger men during his time with the UFW, and we was advocating for farm workers and pesticides even then, and also has his role as CRLA director. Bill has been active in the state Senate. His Death with Dignity bill, I know personally affected my family. His work on farm worker protection and climate change. I could go on and on. He was an early advocate of healthcare for all. So congratulations, Bill, on we appreciate all your service and both as assembly member and a state senator. So please, let's hear from Senator Bill Moore.
Hello, brothers and sisters with the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council. Pleasure to be with you this evening, although I regret that we have to do this virtually in respect of COVID-19. But I do see this as an opportunity to recommit ourselves to the struggle for workers' rights, for working families, and to understand the impacts of COVID-19 that have disproportionately impacted communities of color and working people and wage earners who have been determined to be essential workers in our communities. I want to applaud and thank all of those who have worked on the front lines, who continue to work on the front lines, and to also use this opportunity to rededicate ourselves to the fight against racism, support of Black Lives Matter movement, to remember the name of George Floyd and the many others who've had their lives taken by law enforcement, acting beyond the scope of the law. We need to rededicate ourselves to understand the nexus between racism in this country and the impact on working families and working people. That legacy, those vestiges of racism are indeed systemic and will require a movement that focuses not just on law enforcement practices, but on all aspects of access to education, to healthcare, to quality jobs, and to safe working places. So let me just conclude by saluting and giving a shout out to those being honored this evening, to the labor heroes of the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council. I join with others in thanking you for your service, for your sacrifice, and most importantly to all of you for your leadership in building a strong and vital labor movement in the Central Coast and beyond in the state of California. Thank you. Si se puede. Adelante. Y gracias.
Thank you, Bill. Always great to see Bill. Next up on our agenda is current state Senate candidate for the 17th district. A good friend of mine, and because I knew everybody while we still had hair, before we had it. Former mayor. He's a former council member. He's a leader in LGBT rights. He was on the forefront. He's a former member of the Cabrillo College Board of Trustees, which all of us at Cabrillo like to lay claim to. Gosh, I could go on and on. The voters had a chance to elect him to that role in 2010 in a special election, but he's been serving time. He's with the Governor Brunn's cabinet. As the Secretary of Natural Resources. His resume goes on and on and on. But I think that was most impressive to me during a campaign event in 2010, that we were in the community of Watsonville and a predominantly monolingual Spanish speaking community. And his Spanish was more impressive than any of us there that were speaking. So please give a warm welcome, brothers and sisters, candidate for Senate District in the 17th Senate District, John Laird.
Hello, this is John Laird, candidate for the State Senate in the 17th District, who was endorsed by virtually every labor union making an endorsement in the March primary. I wish we could all be here in person, but this time presents incredible challenges. We are doing everything virtually. I was endorsed recently by the Carpenters and the United Food and Commercial Workers in San Luis Obispo. When I was endorsed by the UFCW in the North, I took my withdrawal card from retail clerks. I couldn't do it now. I've been campaigning hard as a candidate who's been sheltering in place. These present incredibly difficult times. Last week, I did a Zoom fundraiser with Sacramento interests and the President of the Senate, in which we talked about what we've all done in sheltering in place and what the challenges are for us now. I was booed when I said I was in a place where it hadn't cracked 70 degrees in the last week and where I was sheltering with a hairstylist. Now, this period tests our concern for others in public health challenges, but challenges for essential workers, whether it's nurses, transit drivers, food service workers, and more. Can we keep them safe? And for those who are not deemed essential workers, how can we keep them afloat during these tough economic times? This is a difficult time. At the time that the revenues drop for the state budget, the costs go up for unemployment insurance and for health care. And we have to make sure that we don't slack and we take care of everybody when that happens. This is an election of a lifetime. We're talking about the well-being of working people, the protection of people from unmarked federal agents, detaining them and kidnapping them as a diversion for a president that's woefully unpopular. And this is a time where we have to take difficult steps to defeat this virus and protect public health and protect science while making sure that the safety net for workers and disadvantaged people in this country is not cut. So please make sure you register, you vote by mail if you have to, you tell all your friends to vote, and you work in this election virtually, whether it's phone banking, leaflet dropping without interacting, whatever it takes. It's our job to make sure we dispatch this Neanderthal crew and make sure we have people that protect the rights of working people and protect our crucial human services. Thank you. I look forward to working together with you, and I look forward to seeing you all when we come out the other side of this.
Daniel, before we start to the next speaker, Sandra Martinez is back on the line, and after that, Glenn Scheller has one more presentation to do.
Sounds fine.
So can you introduce Sandra?
Hi,
I'm sorry. Look,
for my technical difficulties.
you sound great. Sandra Martinez, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a big fan. She's the vice president of Monterey County, on the front lines at Salinas Valley Medical every day, or must seem like every day. She brings balance to the board with her common sense and forward thinking. So everybody, please give a warm welcome to Vice President of Monterey County, Executive Board Member of the Monterey-based Central Labor Council, Sandra Martinez.
Thank you, Dutch, for the. And we hope that the speakers inspire you. We hope that it continues to carry that message of motivation to continue the important activist work, and that it helps to replenish you in the midst of this pandemic. You know, if somebody told me last year that for the next event, we would be in the middle of a pandemic where society prepared by buying a stock up of toilet paper, and that our event will be held online, and that maybe. But here we are with all those things that did indeed happen. How has the COVID impacted us as labor? It has really underlined many of the things that we say, all things related to social economics and how they are linked to health disparities. The COVID showed that one of the glaring things is that health insurance should not be tied to a job. Saying all along on our call for us to organize the November elections and the local elections, because all along, secondary, which is misinformation, dispel and neutralize us from doing the work we need to do. We know what we gotta do. We also know that we have to change the way we do campaigning, limiting the door-to-door, switching to mass media is the new way, and we are adapting as quickly as we can. Is that devastating blow to some of our unions? Many people lost their work, restructuring and layoff. Since the beginning, our unions been hard at work in holding the line against changes to unsafe working conditions at the local and state level, trying to change regulations. The message from the union and Friends of Labor to employers have been clear. We're proud of that we do. And public boards, such as priority decisions as they these decisions are made with social justice. Of late are building boards listen to work his voice. It has been
Yeah, looks like Sandra's phone has cut out. So I want to hand it off to Glenn Schaller, who'll give Unionist of the Year. One more Unionist of the Year.
Glenn, you're muted.
There we go. Thank you. So I wanted to do another Unionist of the Year for Smart Local 0023. It's Nathaniel Abrejo. Nate Abrejo is our senior vice chairperson for our local, and he works at Metro Paracruz. Nate has stepped up in a huge way for our union. He helps represent 3 different properties: Metro Fixed Route, Metro Paracruz, and Lift Line, which includes about 200 members total. He was involved in 3 contract negotiations, arbitrations, multiple grievances, and is taking care of everyday responsibility as a union rep. He has taken his own initiative to learn more about labor and stepped up for others' unions on labor matters, and he also participates in community events. He's extremely reliable. He cares deeply for our local. He's put in many hours of his own time, and he doesn't hesitate to step up when he's needed, no matter how busy his own life is. Our local is proud to have a leader like Nate Abrejo. Thank you.
Abrego.
Back to you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Danielle, do you want to now present Mark Stone?
Lost you, Caesar, you good?
Yes, we're good. If you could present Mark Stone, or did you already do that?
I haven't done that yet. I was just waiting to catch up with everybody. Next up on our agenda is the Assembly member from the 29th Assembly District. He's a former school board member. It shows you can start out as a school board member and move up the ranks, so to speak. I met him when he was he was on the Board of Supervisors in Santa Cruz County, serving on the Metro Board with myself. He's an environmental champion. He's I believe it's the whole time he's been in office, he scored 100% on the CalFed labor card in supporting labor on all of his votes. As an environmental champion, he's helped reduce plastic in our oceans and fought for clean drinking water. Everybody, please, Assembly Member Mark Stone.
Hi, this is Assemblymember Mark Stone. I want to say congratulations to the award winners at tonight's dinner, although it's a little bit of an odd dinner since I know it's being done over Zoom with appropriate social distancing. These are strange times indeed. But as we struggle to protect those who are tenants and those who are without jobs and those who are without the connections that they've been missing over these past number of months. That certainly reminds us of the value that organized labor has brought to protect people, not just their jobs, but their lives and their livelihoods. That's really what's at stake in these very difficult times. So I want to say congratulations again to the award winners. I hope this is a night we won't have to repeat, as we are all kind of on different schedules and changed our processes. But we've also lost a couple of significant brothers from the Carpenters Union, Ralph and Jonathan. And I know that in this ceremony, we're going to remember those who we've lost this last year. But in these difficult times and the times that we're risking right now, I know that there's a lot at stake, but it's the caring and it's the community that keep us together. So hang in there, enjoy tonight, and we will hopefully have a much better celebration next year.
Thank you, Mark. I do want to remark, brothers and sisters, this would probably be the shortest speeches that we've ever had of elected officials at a Monterey Bay Central Labor Council gathering. So I know my timing is off, but we want to thank everybody for being able to contribute some of those, their words and their videos to this program. Next up, I believe we have, he was not able to join us tonight. Did we get that video from, did we get a video from Assembly Member Rivas? Did that come in? We didn't come in? Well, we just...
No, it didn't. So unfortunately, Assembly Member Rivas and Senator Ana Caballero were not able to get videos in on time, but we'll definitely invite them to our next events. And I agree with Daniel. I love the video. Maybe we'll have a dinner live, but have the electeds on video.
I don't know.
I'll make the night go much faster.
I think I see John Laird shaking his head on that one. I don't know if he's, we'll have to check with him back at that, And by the way, John, I wore the tie for you, John. I wore the tie for you. Since, yeah. Yes, we do want to acknowledge both Senator Caballero and Robert Rivas for their advocation, particularly all the work that Robert has been doing, advocating for farm workers and farm workers' rights, and Ana Caballero for some in that huge district that she has, for being able to be a voice for labor at the state level for us. So this is a little bit of a different introduction I'm going to make here. I've known Leonard O'Neill, the retired Secretary Treasurer. He was there at Unite Here 483 for almost 40 years, although I didn't really want to say 40 years. Under his leadership, he was able to, secure health plans and medical insurance for thousands of workers here in the Monterey Bay Monterey Bay area. Leonard, he was known as a tough negotiator and had to fight hard, to be able to get those health care and good wages for workers and pensions. And so he survived a 17-day strike in 1982. And people forget about those kind of things. And I just wanted to remind everybody. Plus, anybody that you see backstage at a Bonnie Raitt concert hanging out, you got to think he's kind of cool. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please, I believe he's going to join us. Again, going with the theme of what's old is new again, please, everybody, welcome Leonard O'Neill, former Secretary Treasurer, retired. We keep bringing him out of Unite Here 483. Leonard, are you joining us?
Danielle, Leonard needs to unmute himself.
Well, I bet there's plenty of times people wish that Leonard was muted.
There he is.
Yeah, so I'm unmuted and now I'm live. So
there you go, Leonard.
Great. Well, it's good to be here. Although I'm in my den, but listening to the remarks that everybody was talking about here tonight. We got the November election. It's going to be coming up in 50 days. I wasn't even thinking about that earlier when they were talking about mail-in ballots, but that's less than 2 months away, which is great. You know, certainly the fighting against the virus, and then the celebration of this year. Congratulations to all the unionists who came on, Unionists of the Year for their unions. Local politicians, it's good to know they still have our back. And also one of the things I'd like to bring up too is, you know, one of the times when I was working, I went into the kitchen area, and there was one of the dishwashers was back there, and he asked me a couple of questions. And I said, look, I'm not sure. Why don't you see if you can get a hold of one or two of the other dishwashers, and then let's talk about this thing. So he said, oh, okay. So I really didn't think very much about it. Anyway, I came back the next day, and there were 18 dishwashers waiting for me to come in. And this guy had organized them, and they were waiting for me to give a response as to what this was. And we ended up then deciding, well, we're going to do a petition. So I figured, well, okay, they'll get, 18 guys on a petition. They got 280 people signed up on a petition. And it was all under one person's leadership, which is Sergio Rangel. And Sergio has been working with our union. We hired him after the company offered him a 6 cent an hour wage increase. They promoted him to being like the head guy and offered him 6 cents. So we picked him up. We gave him 8 cents, and put him on, and that was 22 years ago. And then next August, at the end of next August, Sergio is going to retire next month. And I wanted to just bring it up because he's the hell of a guy. And if you were ever going into a battle, if you ever needed somebody by your side, that guy would be Sergio Rangel, without a doubt. One time, we were having a staff meeting, and we needed to get some cream cheese for our bagels. So I sent Sergio out for some cream cheese. He was gone to Philadelphia for 3 weeks, but he came back. It didn't matter. He was going to get that cream cheese. A good guy. But I got to say, look, we're going to miss him. He's been to 20 something of these dinners that we've had in the past. He helps arrange, argue, and make sure that everything gets done. That's his motto. Si se puede, Sergio Rangel. The other thing I want to talk about is I'd like to thank the Central Labor Council and all the unions and the brothers and sisters who've made contributions on behalf of our members. We especially have been hurt and hit big time by this COVID. I never realized we were the essential workers, but we're essential workers. We have no one in our restaurants now that are working full time. If you think about the restaurants that are in hotels, they're closed, and so none of the none of the restaurant workers are working. That's the bussers, the bartenders, the food servers, the cooks, the pot washers, the dishwashers, the cleaners. And so it's been like that, for the past 4 or 5 months. We also end up in a problem where some of our workers are unable to get unemployment benefits or any other benefits due to some status issues that they may have. And your donations come in and help us with that. And we have bought gift cards from Safeway and from Lucky's, in which we distribute to the members. We also pay on their bills when they come in. If they've got a water bill or a rent bill, they'll bring in the receipts, and we'll help cover that for them during this time. But it's really not us covering it. It's you guys who are covering it, the people who've dug in and helped our union get through this hard times. And look, it's going to be tough. There's no doubt about it, that this is going to go on for a while longer. But as I sit here, I gotta say, look, I think the future today looks good in this area, but we need to be patient. First of all, there's 5 things that I want you to look at and think about. I think that the treatments that are coming out are looking more promising day by day. The testing that's going on, even within the Central Coast, it's getting easier. The masks are working. They appear to be working. It seems like more states are getting onto the bandwagon. Even our esteemed leader has been seen to wear it once. You know, we also know more about this virus now than we knew 4 or 5 months ago. So it's pushing us closer to getting that vaccine. Where months ago it didn't come up on an end date, now we're talking about the end of the year, the beginning of January. So I know that, you know, we can be scratching our heads on this thing, but I think the future is starting to look good for us, but we do need to be patient. And I'll stay patient with you. We'll meet together in 2021 at an actual Labor Council dinner. Si se puede, God be with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Leonard. I'm fired up and ready to go. And I hope everyone here is. This is weird where we all can't just talk and communicate amongst each other. But I think what you've heard tonight, I want to remind everybody that, and now on this day of honoring John Lewis, that voting rights is not just a Southern issue, it's Southern part of our county, excuse me, our country. I worked with Joaquin Avila and Jesse Sanchez and a variety of community folks in the early 90s. We actually filed 3 or 4 lawsuits directed at the institutions of government, at the Board of Supervisors, at judicial districts. We looked at Salinas Valley Hospital, we looked at the city councils, and we were able, under Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, to be able to enforce those changes that allowed us, electoral changes that allowed us to be able to elect the kind of officials that we have now serving us in the community. So voting rights is not just a Southern issue. It was alive, the battle was fought here also in Monterey County. And the federal government, excuse me, the Supreme Court of the United States, wiping away the Voting Rights Act in Section 5, directly affected Monterey County. So it's never been more important ever to vote and to be able to reach everybody in the households. And by the way, those of you who haven't finished doing your census, there's still time to fill out your census to be able to help us with our redistricting efforts that are coming forward. So I wanted to bring those things up here today, because you're hearing us say it over and over, but our strength lies in electing officials like John Laird and others that will be able to carry the voice of working families forward into the next. We cannot survive another 4 years. We have to have a large vote out and to be able to show across the country the mandate of the people, I believe. So we're kind of at that portion in our program here that, well, Mr. Laura, I believe it's your turn up to be able to address this.
It's actually Jeffrey Smegberg will be doing presentation on a Cuba video to explain the importance of today's date.
Hey, good evening again, everyone. A couple things before I talk about Cuba is I appreciate Lenny. Appreciate your description of Sergio and what's difficulties the members of Local 483 have been under. I hope it's improved a little bit, but at the beginning of the shutdown, the pandemic shutdown, I think you did say that your hotel and restaurant workers were having a hard time, and I don't think you mentioned the statistic that 95% of your members were off work. Hope it's improved a little. And so we've been trying to generously support your Solidarity Fund. I also wanted to apologize for Sandra Martinez, the technical difficulties we had with her speech. I know the parts that I heard were quite moving, and I hope we get a transcript of that so we can hear the whole thing. So today is July 26th. It's known in Cuba as El 26 de Julio. It's a day of celebration. The 26th of July movement was a Cuban vanguard revolutionary organization and later a political party led by Fidel Castro. The movement's name commemorates its July 26, 1953 attack on the Moncada army barracks on Santiago de Cuba in an attempt to start the overthrowing of the dictator Fulgencio Batista, which was ultimately successful in 1958. Argentinian radical journalist and filmmaker Maria Torres completed her film Cubanas Mujeres en Revolución in 2018. So it's still a pretty current glimpse of Cuba, an island only 90 miles from Florida that has been under an economic and information blockade by the US since 1960. The triumph of the revolution began in 1958 is still active, and in Torres's telling, it's still led by women. Her film was featured in the 2020 season of the Real Work Labor Film Festival. And I hope you like this 3-minute trailer and are inspired to watch the full film via the link we will give you just after the film. Thank you.
¿Qué siento que me da la revolución?
La revolución cubana.
Para mí, la revolución cubana, yo solo puedo imaginar qué sería de mi familia sin la revolución.
Me hubiera casado a los 14 o 15 años, como tantas mujeres, me hubiera enamorado de cualquier guajiro, me hubiera llenado de hijos y no hubiera estudiado y hecho nada.
A las mujeres nos ha dado todo, nos ha dado independencia, nos ha dado libertad. Aquí las mujeres somos ingenieros, médicos, científicos, somos de todo. La discriminación en Cuba no existe de la mujer.
Este centro tiene alrededor de 1.400 trabajadores. El 52% somos mujeres. De las que tienen algún nivel de responsabilidad, el 45% somos mujeres.
En muchas organizaciones de masas y políticas, la mujer está presente en cargos de dirección decisorios. Sin embargo, en el ámbito familiar, sí todavía hay que hacer mucho.
Aide Santa María era una persona muy sensible.
Y entonces yo le decía, ay Celia, yo quiero irme para mi casa porque yo quiero volver a ver a mamá. Y ella me transmitía un cariño, una cosa así que, como si ella me conociera de toda la vida.
Y Vilma es una mujer que tiene una luz larga, tremenda. Quien realmente inició la educación sexual en Cuba fue Vilma, en el reconocimiento a la igualdad de cada persona.
Y todo eso lo hizo, como decimos en Cuba, sin perder la ternura.
Yo creo que la mujer cubana, incluso esas revolucionarias, pero las revolucionarias de la vida cotidiana, con un país que hace sacrificios enormes para salir adelante, son héroes de este tiempo también.
Cada persona que uno salva en un país donde va a trabajar, cada cosa buena que hace, cada agradecimiento, no es solamente a mí, es a mi país, es a mi sistema de salud, a mi sistema de educación, es a mi sistema social.
El socialismo no es solo distribuir la riqueza de otra manera en la sociedad, es sobre todo cambiar la concepción de las relaciones humanas.
Todo lo que somos es la revolución.
Thank you, Jeffrey. That was inspiring. I believe we're going to make that available, the whole link, to be able to have everybody can enjoy that film at their own leisure. So, Brother Lara.
Good evening, everybody. Cesar Lara, I'm the Executive Director of the Labor Council, and I really want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Really want to thank the Unionists of the Year, Nate, and everybody else that got highlighted. Thank you for being on the front line. To all of our central workers, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's been a tough year. I think we've seen a lot of struggles, but we've also seen a lot of solidarity between all of us in the labor movement in the Monterey Bay Area. So I really want to thank everybody. Really want to thank the staff at the Labor Council, Veronica Diaz and Glenn Schaller and Teresa for doing all the hard work, and to the executive board of the Labor Council, not just Daniel and Jeffrey and everybody on the executive board for keeping us on our toes and really guiding us as an organization. Because as a Labor Council, we've been able to make political gains in the area, but we also know that 2020, November 2020 is an opportunity to gain seats, to hold elected officials accountable, and really address many important issues that are important, not just here to the Central Coast, but across the nation. Issues of economic self-sufficiency are still alive today. So many of our workers that are not part of labor still earn very little and have issues of respect in the work site that we need to continue fighting for. We also have issues of racial equity. Bill Monning spoke about it, and others spoke about it, and it's critical issues that at the end it's worker issues. And as we go forth in this civil rights march, the labor movement was there, just like we were when we marched on Washington, when it was a fight for civil rights and good jobs. And so we will continue the fight. And I really want to thank everybody for joining us. And to end it off, let's do a Si Se Puede. Si Se Puede for all the workers here on the Central Coast. Si Se Puede for all of us here. And thank you for joining us today. And we want to hand it over to Daniel. And thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Si se puede. Si se puede.
Se puede.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. It's been strange, but we look forward to being all in the same room with everybody. And let's communicate with each other. Solidarity forever. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you, guys.
I'm usually the last one to leave, so I'll hang out in the parking lot for a little while. Hang out for a little while. See if I can get a ride home like I usually do after the Labor Council events.
I know. I can't just throw you in the back of my pickup truck and carry you off somewhere.
Yeah, it's happened once or twice. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. A little challenging. Good to see you, Terry.
Yeah, Daniel, this is Terry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can hear you.
I want to make an amendment to something that you said earlier, that the next time we get together, the drinks are on Cesar. I think they should be on you, myself, and Ms. Holm, who were bestowed the honors of our Lifetime Achievement Award from Senator Monning. So Cesar, you're off the hook. You're not paying.
All right. You got me, Terry. I was trying to get him before he got me, but like.
Hey, yeah. I was just planning on going to like a Union grocery store and picking up those box wines from Gallo, the big squares. And just, Becky, that wine is pretty good, isn't it, Becky? It's good enough.
Francia.
Wine is really good.
Hey, I'll drink to that.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.